Well, just like that, 2025 has come to a conclusion and a new dig for all of us here at Dre Rocca's studio. Very happy to be here for the 2025 end of the year award show. We've got plenty of awards to hand out, plenty of nominees that you have seen throughout the entirety of this week on social media. So to my right will be none other than Zack Partridge, COO and matchmaker of Fierce FC. To my left, our good friend Dre Rocca, who is a super fan of Fierce FC alongside all the other things that he does to help our show. And Dre, thank you so much for having us here in your studio.
Absolutely, man. I'm a super fan. I love that. Add that to my title.
You are a super fan.
I am. Day one. I love it.
That's right.
So, fellas, one thing that I want to kind of kick this off with is there might have been a little bit of confusion. The reason that we're doing this podcast and going to be discussing all of this is because we have been to or watched every single Fierce fight this year. And part of this is, you know, in order to have a fair award show, the committee of people who decide it need to be informed on every single matchup, every single strike, every single takedown, all those different things. So before anything, this is going to be a discussion. This is going to be somewhat of a debate in order to crown the winners of these awards. So Zack and Dre will kind of debate throughout the entirety of this process. If they cannot come to a conclusion, I will kind of come in and then tie break if that's cool with you, my man.
Absolutely.
Sounds good. So got a couple of different categories here. We will start things off with the debut of the year, followed by the submission of the year, knockout of the year, women's fighter of the year, amateur fighter of the year, performance of 2025, the fight, and the professional fighter of 2025. And that will close things out for the year on the Damage Plan MMA podcast. We will kick things off with the debut of the year. And this is an absolutely stacked lineup, fellas. So Dre, I'll kick it over to you to start things off. Brock Adams, who had an incredible 7-second KO in March. Ruben Rivera in July. Lance Lavoie just a couple of days ago. As well as Eric Lazo sneaks in to the lineup of debuters of the year.
Yeah, I think that when you talk about debuters, what better way to debut than all four of these guys? All four of these guys made a statement with their names. Ruben Rivera, one of my favorites. I love this guy. Brock Adams, his whole career, his whole 2025 is less than, 40 seconds? Like, that's insane. It's an insane amount of achievements to have this year. Do I give you my pick right now?
I mean, yeah, absolutely. I mean,
okay. Well,
who's yours?
Brock Adams.
Is Brock Adams your guy? Okay, so when I'm looking at debuts of the year, and I think of I'm thinking of difficulty of things, and I'm thinking of, again, and I cannot stress this enough. Everybody's worthy to win, so we are splitting micro hairs, so nobody take it as a dig. I already know people are going to get offended. Oh, Zack said that. Just, you're on the list is because you're worthy. That's why. So nobody get all in your feelings about this, even though fighters are some of the most sensitive creatures in the world, including myself and my teammates and my friends. I'm saying that. But for my debut of the year, I'm actually going to go with Lance Lavoie because And I've been thinking about this, and I think that changed a little bit from when we talked. I think the guy that I think he did it against the toughest guy, and he got, what did he call it? The goth lock or a J lock? It's a
J lock.
You know, the J lock, right? So it's a submission it's a high level submission as a blue belt. He just got promoted last night to his purple belt. Congratulations, Lance. And Jace Cabana, everybody from that gym, TBD on who did it with the toughest opponent, but everybody from that gym is very tough and looked very good. I think he had the most impressive win against the toughest opponent.
So, Brock Adams, his last opponent was who? Kobayashi?
Aspen. And we're just talking about his debut. We're not talking about his fight with Aspen.
So that is
just the debut fight.
Debut of the year.
Which was against Dustin Jones up in Idaho Falls.
Gotcha. Okay. So I'm misunderstood.
My apologies. I should have explained that.
We're good. So when we're talking about just their debut fight and who had the best
7
breakout.
seconds. I've said it on business. 7 seconds in his debut. His family's there. Everybody's hype. Brock Adams, your 2025 debut of the year.
So no, but no, like dude, and again, this is where I don't want people to get who he did it against. Like we've seen Dustin get knocked out in similar fashion to Talon Carvalho, who Dustin's had a lot of fights, and he fought way back on Fierce FC 2 in Price, Utah against Carson Craig a long time ago. Like Dustin's been around for a long time. He took that fight on short notice. He didn't have any time to train for that fight, and he weighed in like 5-6 pounds underneath the weight class limit. Like he had no business being in there. Like props to Brock. We're splitting micro hairs, but my debut of the year is going to go to Lance because of what he did was harder to do against what seems to be potentially a tougher opponent.
It took him longer to do it. That's all I'm hearing.
May I bring in another option here really quickly?
Let's do it.
Ruben Rivera is the only guy on this list who came away with the performance of the night. Ruben Rivera did it against a guy who was a grappler and ended up submitting him when everybody thought that he was just a striker. I mean, Ruben looked incredible. Eric Lazo, Fight of the Night honors. Also, we saw that appetizer in the kickboxing debut. Personally, I lean Ruben Rivera before these two, but I completely see both sides of this. So we kind of got to divvy this out. I don't know if there's going to be, I mean, is anyone going to convince someone else?
Yeah, you can convince me of Ruben just for the simple fact too, against Amos Montoya was supposed to have a giant grappling advantage.
Exactly.
Ruben looked fantastic in it. And when we're splitting hairs like this, like you said, performance of the night, like he looked unbelievable in his MMA debut. So, I would concede to Ruben if we can get a consensus on that.
Absolutely. I'm good with Ruben.
Okay.
I will say this. If we are going to swing the tide, Lance Lavoie, unbelievably impressive. Brock Adams, again, ties Zack Zane for the fastest knockout in Fierce history. So hats off to all of them.
Yeah, and I mean, Eric's was really good too. Like, that was probably one of the funnest fights of the entire card of a fun night to end the year. But I think, Ruben Rivera.
Rivera.
Okay, I guess so. I appreciate it.
Can we give him some claps?
Yeah.
Hey.
Ruben Rivera. Congratulations.
Guest of the pod.
Yeah. Well, part of the reason I didn't want to say anything was because they're like, well, he was friends with him on the podcast. And we're a small community here. We all know each other, all right?
and truly, I do love all those guys. Absolutely.
Yeah. Congratulations, you guys.
All right, let's move on to the second category, Submission of the Year. David Kim in January over none other than Lance Regenball. Lance Lavoie, again, he's been very busy. That 36 seconds, absolutely sensational for him. Another nomination. Calvin Taylor with that slick Darce choke at the Maverick Center in August, and Joel Haro in the main event against Owen Robinette just a couple of nights ago. Zach, I'll start with you.
So and again, why my vote was Lance was debut of the year was literally a submission of the year candidate in his debut fight. Like it was that good. That being said, loved Calvin's Darce choke against a grappler, against a guy that was supposed to have the jiu-jitsu advantage, submitting a guy that is supposed to have the jiu-jitsu advantage. Love that. For me, it does come down to Joel's and David Kim's. I'm a big fan of when people are going for the triangle and instead of trying to, die on that hill of forcing a triangle, like the arm bar is readily there all the time and people just forget about it. Joel showed his experience, was able to get that done. But for me, hands down, submission of the year, it's David Kim. The creativity of the armbar, and in a title fight, again, the creativity of an armbar. Like I've watched that like 10 times. Like that, the creativity of it, you can't teach that in a role. Be like, hey, if they do this, then you move to this, and then that's just masterful attention to detail of understanding like joint manipulation, and for me, it's David Kim.
You're swinging me. How you swinging me just off of that right there? No, I kind of going back to what you were talking about, debut of the year. I wasn't picking Lance because I was picking Lance in this category. It might be because it was so fresh on my mind. But he did it at the Masonic Temple, end of the year. I feel like it was so slick and smooth, and for that reason, I was picking him. But you got me thinking David Kim's was nice.
I mean, it was so sick and smooth that most people, one, didn't see it, and two, we didn't know what happened. Because most people don't know what that is.
I was going to say, it was so slick and smooth, I didn't know what to call it. I was looking at my wife, I was like, I don't know what it was, but it was so nice.
We were all tricked on the broadcast. I mean, you've got Jason Laporte's been training for 4 years. Andrew Boquette's been training for decades. I've been training for 7 years, and we were all like, what in the world did he finish him with? Like we couldn't see it until we got the replay.
Yeah.
I mean, he tricked every single one of us. So extremely impressive. Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but
so for that reason, that's why I was picking Lance. But dang, man, you got me thinking David Kim. What say Blake?
I do lean David Kim solely because it was higher stakes. It was for a title. It was his final amateur fight. It was to become the second ever double champion. He had won 4 in a row at that point. I mean, he was on an absolute tear. And Lance Regenball had beaten his opponent, or his teammate, Brendan Myers, who's been a longtime teammate of David Kim. So I think the storyline behind it, leans a little bit David. But Lance Lavoie also, again, I feel like he keeps kind of coming up second in all of these categories. But again, he made his debut 3 days ago, and we get an entire 2026 of him, hopefully, where he's going to be absolutely at the top of a lot of lists, it seems like.
Yeah, I mean, the creativity of landing a J-lock in a fight is just something that you just don't see very often.
Unreal.
And, apparently he's like the buggy choke king, and he has all this high-level stuff. I mean, it's really fun. I like the creativity of what David Kim was able to do, getting a traditional move like an armbar in a very unconventional, untraditional way.
And the stakes was high.
And it was a title fight. And Lance was on an absolute tear at that point too. So I don't think I can be swayed off that. If I get outvoted, I get outvoted. I do not think I can be swayed off David Kim for that. That for me, that was my favorite. Again, splitting hairs, nobody get offended.
Dre, your vote.
Because it was a title fight, I think that's what I'm leaning for on David Kim.
David Kim as well for myself. Congratulations to David Kim for the submission of the year. Another thing, too, that I will note is recency bias can be difficult to deal with because David did this almost a year ago.
Correct. And that's a big thing to keep in mind. Like when we went over this list and possible candidates, I went back and rewatched all of them and just kind of tried to isolate it, or not just so everything was fresh. So that is kind of what I'm going off of as well.
All right, knockout of the year. This is always such a competitive category. There were so many that just missed the mark, but we lean to Nicole Funga in January, Brock Adams, that 7-second KO, Josiah Simpson in October with that elbow from standing, also Aspen Kobayashi in November over Manuel Marrero.
I mentioned his name. Well, let me tell you, Nicole's knockout was really cool. I don't think I've ever seen him with my own two eyes a woman knock out another woman and do it in a fashion that was really nice. That fight was cool. It was a cool fight. Nicole put on a clinic. Brock, I was championing you for the last 14 minutes, but I'm gonna have to rock with my man Aspen Kobayashi. I think Aspen, there's a moment where Aspen's watching this fight and he's calculating when to throw this because the guy dips his head. And Kobayashi finds the perfect moment to land. What was it? It was an uppercut, wasn't it? It was
an uppercut.
Uppercut. Lands it in just beautiful fashion, and he needed that. The emotion for this guy, he needed it after losing previously to Brock. So it's like, man, he needs this. He gets the knockout, and the emotion was high. I'm gonna give it to my man Aspen Kobayashi.
And for me, it does come down to the same two. I love Josiah's knockout with the step in elbow, but that was the beginning of the end. But
yes.
But it needed more, right? The other option was
Brock Adams and Nicole Funga.
Brock's was great. Don't get me wrong at all. Again, we're going against strength of who he did it against, and that's why for me it does come down to Nicole. Because she slept her with one punch, and Jackie didn't wake up for like a minute.
It's a great point.
You don't see that in women's MMA. It's like right up there with like Valentina's head kick on Jessica I. Like you just don't see girls get slept like that. But again, too, strength of schedule. Like Manuel was the person that Aspen knocked out. I think was like Manuel's good. Like he's really good, and he was undefeated at that point. And like you said, Aspen needed that, and for that moment and what that was, I think we are splitting hairs. But
was Nicole's a defense or
no? That was before her title fight.
Gotcha.
So if that would have been in the title fight against Kenzie, which I think was Nicole's best body of work performance that she's had all year. But yeah, I'm gonna go with Aspen for knockout of the year as well, just because of the timing with the 6, and Manuel's a very good striker in his own right, and to catch another striker like that, I think was special.
Yeah, and I'll kind of echo everything that you say. I think a big part of what leans into KO of the year is also who you're standing across the cage from. Nicole's unbelievable, like you mentioned. Brock Adams, 7 seconds against a guy in Dustin Jones, who also hasn't won in a very long time. You look at Josiah Simpson and what he did. Chris Chu has a granite chin, one of the best chins we've seen in recent years. And so that's why that one was so impressive on my end. But I do tend to lean Aspen Kobayashi. I must have called you 6 times over the final 2 weeks before that fight leading up and saying, dude, this matchup is unreal. Manuel 1-0 in kickboxing, 1-0 in MMA, and didn't have a hitch in either game plan.
Yeah.
And for Aspen to close show inside of 1 minute with a singular uppercut, I do tend to lean his way as well.
Yeah. I mean, all things considered, splitting hairs, all of them have their own argument. For me, it's Aspen.
Unanimous. Our first unanimous?
First unanimous.
Ooh. Hey, I love getting along, fellas. Aspen Kobayashi, 2025 knockout of the year. Congratulations to him. All right, women's fighter of the year. Nicole Funga, Kiani Benali, the now amateur flyweight champion. Nicole Funga, also a champion here at Fierce. Hannah Silva, who went 2-1 in 2025, and Nakaya August with that incredible debut victory in July. Zach, I'll kick it over to you.
For me, and this one was really tough, I felt like, but because of the two, I think this one comes down pretty clearly to Nicole and Hannah. That being said, I'm going to, and Hannah, even in her loss, very entertaining. Her fight with Casey Pierce was awesome, right? Probably comeback of the year. If that was a category, that was probably one of the best comebacks we've seen at Fierce Fighting Championship. Good title fight with Kiani. Kiani only with the one fight with Fierce. She is slated, and it'll be announced very soon that she'll be defending that title very soon.
Sweet.
So that's really cool, and we're excited to have her and see her run. For me, it's just for Kiwi to have the debut that she had, but obviously she struggled in her last fight, and can learn from that. I think Nicole, it's pretty clear, just because she didn't lose this year, one, but the big one for me is her performance at the Maverick Center. I felt like was her most complete body of work that she's built to, and I thought that performance trumped all other performances because, I mean, if you remember, like on paper, that girl was supposed to submit Nicole.
She was. Yeah.
Like, I mean, if you're breaking down the fight unbiasedly and stuff, and that girl was probably the favorite on paper to win that fight, and Nicole shut down her grappling, was physical, her striking was on point, her takedown defense was on point, and when it did go to the ground, her grappling defense had gotten much better, which she'd been submitted, by Melody, and when I thought it showed the most growth, came kind of full circle. My female fighter of the year is Nicole Funga.
I think you said everything except she wore the belt on Friday night and sung the national anthem. It did an amazing job vocally.
She always does.
But yeah, I echo everything Zach said. I think she's a great champion. That's one thing that I always tell champions, like, wear that belt out in the wild. When you go to Smith's, when you go and get your oodles and noodles, you better be wearing that belt because it's only going to bring eyes to the sport, right? And to see her show up with that belt, echoing what Zach said, she put on a performance. She showed that she is developing into be an overall all around, overall, great MMA fighter. And for that reason, she is my women's amateur fighter of the year.
Yeah, we got another unanimous one here. 3-0 in 2025. The win in January, which was just such an emphatic knockout that we just talked about it just a few moments ago. The win in May. And then obviously, like you mentioned, the Kenzie Kessel win. That should have been a much more competitive matchup on paper. And Nicole Funga made it look, I don't want to say easy in respect to Kenzie, but she did dominate in that fight. And she looked incredible. So, yeah, clear as day, women's fighter of the year, Nicole Funga for sure.
Absolutely.
All right, fellas, over to the amateur fighter of the year, another stacked division. Drake Anderton, Lane Dalton, Dante Morales, Brock Adams. So 3 champions. And then the man that we keep talking about, who only has about 36 seconds of fight time in 2025, who has splashed onto the scene in a big way. Dre, we'll kick it over to you.
Yeah, man, this is tough. This is really, really tough. You said 3 champions. I mean, Dante has a perfect record, right? Like, Drake, such a great performance too. Lane Dalton, though. This guy, Lane Dalton, went perfect at 2025. Champ. His opponents, and you talk about Aragon, Hansen, most recent close out the year with Pfeiffer, who is a tough SOB. And plus he has a nice stash. Just a nice stash. Lane Dalton is my amateur fighter of the year, no doubt.
Well, so if Dante Morales grows the mustache, does that make him a little more competitive in it? I mean, Drake Anderton has a great beard. Hey, Brock Adams, you need to grow some facial hair to get Dre's vote. That's crazy. Nice stash. No, Lane, like, I mean, that's what this should be fun. So
I love it. I love it.
But in all seriousness, you look at again, it's about what did you do in the fierce cage, right? So Dante went 2-0 in MMA, right? But then had the very impressive win in kickboxing. The kickboxing would be a tiebreaker for me. Also, awesome champion. Did miss weight for the kickboxing match. He did. So to me, that's just a little, just barely. We're splitting hairs again. So it's just Drake went 2-1, but he also, that one loss came for the 2-1 in 3 title fights. The one loss came to the number 1 amateur in the country, a consensus pretty much Sterling Rich. He shot a shot and came up short. Lane Dalton, though, Alan Aragon, who was on a tear before and has been since. Spencer Hansen, who rose his hand because nobody else was really, not a ton of people were raising their hand to fight Lane Dalton at that point. Went through a whole camp where the then champ, 170, pulled out the day before weigh-ins. Hurried and hopped into another camp October 3rd, beat Spencer Hansen, dominated with a quick submission, and then moved up a weight class to 185. Pfeiffer's a big boy too, and he moved up and he dominated that one. 3-0 in the fierce cage. I think it has to be Lane Dalton.
Yeah, as much as I love every single one of these guys, 2-division champion. I mean, he joins Nasir Davis and David Kim. That is an elite group of talent when you talk about these amateur fighters. Obviously, David has gone on to go pro as well as Nasir Davis. Drake Anderton, 2-1 in the cage, and like you mentioned, tough strength of schedule. But when you look at what Lane Dalton has done, it's not just the fact that he's 3-0. He hasn't lost a moment, guys. There hasn't been a moment in any fight in 2025 where Lane Dalton, it's gone, oh, I wonder where this is going to end up. Oh, he looks like he's in a little bit of trouble. So
Alan Aragon had him in a little bit of trouble in the 3rd round of their fight.
That is fair.
A little bit.
That is fair.
Pfeiffer's Gilly was pretty tight too.
That's a great point.
And Lane's coach said that was it was close. There was one point that he said the Gilly, like Pfeiffer,
That's a great point, Dre. And I apologize. I did forget about that.
Would have been wild, but
and
he still won the round, by the way.
Yeah.
Whereas Allen, you could say that he might have lost that 3rd round.
Yeah.
I can't remember the scorecards exactly, but with Mike, he did not lose a round.
I also love talking to Lane on the podcast and him just saying, like, I have beaten everybody at their own game. And I don't know if that's necessarily the case. I don't know if the fight was spent enough on the feet to show that. But Lane did look really good on the feet on top of what he does with wrestling. Exactly. And so I do tend to lean Lane Dalton. I said it a couple of nights ago on the immediate reaction. I do think he's one of, if not the best amateur fighter in the entire country, and I can't wait to see what he does next. So Lane Dalton, Amateur Fighter of the Year. Congratulations to him.
Congrats, Lane.
All right, Category 6, Performance of the Year. Mauro Gutierrez, just a couple of nights ago with that decision win over Qudratula Babacar Hill. Josiah Simpson in April with that comeback victory over Alden Ashcraft. Joel Haro in August with the victory over Justin Horsley. And Kent Mafileo against an unbeaten fighter in AJ Perez in April.
So this one's really hard for me. Again, we're splitting hairs again. So it comes down to Joel and Josiah for me. And on Performance of the Year, when I think of moments, there's two moments that do stand out to me in 2025. And moments is not a category, so spoiler alert, but there are moments that stand out to me that I just like goosebump cool moments. One of them was up in Bear Lake. Brayton Jorgensen comes up to me in Waynes and goes, "Hey, if anybody at 135, pulls out, I'm ready to go." And I'm like, "We just lost a 135er like a few hours ago. He never got his medicals in that supposedly were already in and on their way. Like he never got them in, and he ghosted everybody. And he ends up taking a fight with the hometown guy who knew he was outmatched but didn't want to lose out on the opportunity to fight in his hometown. And they weighed in at 145 the next day, the day of the fights, at fighter check-in the next day at the venue. To me, that was like, for both of them, Brayton Jorgensen doing it, the other guy taking it, knowing that he was outmatched. And then it was a competitive, good fight, like as long as it lasted. That was cool. And then my other one is Josiah Simpson screaming in the mic, "Boogeyman who?" Right? Because I mean, nobody wanted to fight Alden, and Alden like is known as like, he's scary. Like he is a tough matchup, and everybody knows how good he is, how talented he is. He's one of the most special athletes that I've ever watched fight on a regional scene. His movement, his power, everything. When he puts it together, he's terrifying. And Josiah took everything from him, lost the first round, was getting beat, and basically was just unbreakable and won by TKO via retirement on the stool. And Alden didn't answer the bell in the third. Like that. And I mean, and Joel Haro's performance was unreal as well. But for me, that moment of, Boogeyman who, like that capped off the Performance of the Year for me.
You're absolutely right. Salute to Kent Mafileo, man. Kent, man, those elbows are vicious. And a scary guy in AJ Perez, somebody that is supposed to come in and upset a Salt Lake crowd, but he didn't, right? And Kent gets it done. You got Gutierrez that puts on a clinic. He's shaking moves. He's fighting a dude that's tough, right? He's moving his head. He's bobbing and weaving. He's hitting this dude. He's strategic. He's surgical with this stuff. He cuts him open, and he gets the job done. Joe Haro, Horsley. What a match. What a fight. Bloody, bruised, everything. No quitting these guys, especially Horsley. Josiah Simpson. You talk about who's the boogeyman now. That needs to go on a T-shirt.
It is on a T-shirt. He has a boogeyman T-shirt. I have it. My wife actually was folding our laundry last night and pulled out the shirt, and she's like, "What is this?" I was like, "It's Josiah's T-shirt." Like, I have one. I have a boogeyman, Josiah Simpson boogeyman T-shirt.
I love it. But I, like you, echo, it comes down to two fights, Josiah and Joel's. And for me, it was Josiah. I hate the word retirement. I don't know if we need to retire that word, but he made the guy not get back for the next round. Like, he quit the match. It's done. He finished this dude, literally. Mm-hmm. But the Joel fight was entertaining, and it went the whole fight, and it shows how much heart Horsley had. So this is what made it really tough for me.
It didn't go the whole. Joel got the TKO in the third.
Yeah. But, I mean, it went further than Joe's.
I got you.
So for me, the stoppage was sooner against a guy in Ashcroft that is a scary dude. I've seen this guy throw down. Yeah. when I was at Elite Performance with Mike Jones, I seen this dude hit pads. This guy's scary. I don't want to be on the bad guy, on the bad side of that guy. So with that, I'm gonna say for me, Josiah Simpson was the performance of the year.
Yeah, I'll also just say Josiah was my pick as well. Not only do we get the incredible work by Pat's Media to capture the entire moment and everything that happened with that Josiah Simpson fight, guys, it was a comeback. I mean, he was down, and maybe we were a little bit biased on the commentary, but Eric Iman, Jason Laporte, and myself, every single one of us said Josiah is significantly down, and Alden is giving him everything that he has. And like you mentioned, Josiah completely flips the script. Yeah. I mean, he completely changes the course of the fight. And in between rounds 2 and 3, that was the end of the fight. And again, it felt also like, you talk about moments of the year, and this almost blends in with it. It felt like a turning of the guard, a changing of the guard in which not a lot of people knew about Josiah. That was his fierce debut. Yeah. And he comes and does that. And then he goes in October and does what he does with that standing elbow. It just felt like that performance created so much of such a big moment for the year, but also it was a coming out party for Josiah Simpson. So I would lean him in that as well. So performance of the year goes to Josiah Simpson, that incredible walk in April. So congratulations to him. All right, fight of the year. Another very competitive one. We will start things off with Alden Ashcraft and Josiah Simpson, which we just talked about. Joel Haro, Justin Horsley, Tafu Mamea, and Dennis Bialy, and Nate Owens versus Nasir Davis. Dre, it's over to you.
Well, I'm not going to take long on this. I think I've already explained my case on this thing, and I'm going to give it to Haro and Horsley. I think if it's not the performance of the year, I think for sure it is fight of the year. That was so entertaining on one of the biggest, if not the biggest fight card of Fierce for 2025. For these guys to come into the Maverick Center and just put on a show. Everybody was entertained. I don't care if you were against Horsley. Haro fans were having fun. Everybody was having a good time on this fight, and for that, I'm going to just say that's my fight of the year. No disrespect to anybody else. Owens and Davis, y'all know I'm a Nasir low-key fan as long as he's not fighting our guys.
Secretive, yeah.
But
we claim him.
Yeah, but he that was so technical and fun, but there was no blood like Horsley.
I mean, so I'm going to give my honorable mention. It didn't win, but I'm going to give my honorable mention to the most entertaining amateur fight of the year with Tafu and Dennis Bialy. I had so much fun watching that fight and going back and rewatching it. That was like a kickboxing match delight, and they beat the crap out of each other. I wasn't totally positive who even won that fight, and I really didn't care because I would take both of them back in a heartbeat. And what's so fun is neither of them are from here, right? Bialy, like we kind of claim him, right, because he trains at the pit when he's here, but like he lives in California. And Tafu, he has family here in Salt Lake City, but he's a syndicate guy and he lives in Vegas. So I mean, and both of them have an open door to come back whenever, because yeah, if you come and you fight like that, to me that was, I mean, when I think of back and forth and just giving 100 and never saying die, that fight embodied that. And as two young amateurs, it's like, I almost hate that amateurs kind of put themselves through those wars. Like, it's fun, but it's like that's not a sustainable thing. But they were both very good, very tough. That's like, it's what's scary. This next generation of fighters that are coming, they're coming in that good. Tafu's debut, Dennis Bialy, that was his second fight for us. Like, very, very, very good guys. But I'll say that, I mean, Owens and Nasir, so much fun. There's a point where it feels like Nate Owens is trying to mount a comeback, and Nasir was just a little bit, just half a step ahead, even when that was happening. I would have liked to see a little bit more back and forth, and maybe if Nate Owens could have put Nasir in some real danger, but I don't really think Nasir was ever in danger in that fight. For me, the back and forth of Haro and Horsley, because you talk about Josiah coming back. Joel got dropped, right? And then the other big moment in that fight was Joel's hanging onto that Kimura and Horsley picks him up and dumps him. And we all have flashbacks, PTSD of Poppy Jones in February. And I'm like, for the love, please do not hang on to Kimuras when you're being elevated, please. But yeah, I mean, they both had big moments, and there was back and forth. So for me, and everything that Maverick Center card was, for that to be the biggest card of the year, and for the main event to come and show up and show out like that, like that was everything for me. I mean, you know how I am after fight nights. I'm not always the happiest person in the world. I was so happy after that night because everybody came for the most part and laid it out on the line. And then the main event, everything we built it up to be and hoped it would be, it was that and more.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. Hava Owens, Nasir Davis, one of the most technical fights I've ever seen. I mean, that was just incredible. It had to get a nomination just based off of the output. If you go and watch that fight back, it's absolutely insane. Similar situation for Tafu Mamea and Dennis Bialy, which again is the only amateur fight on this list. And like you mentioned, Zach, Tafu Mamea making his debut, Dennis Bialy one fight into his amateur career, and they put on that type of a performance. I mean, such a hats off to them. A lot of 2025 has been based around these two fights. Joel Haro, Justin Horsley, Alden Ashcraft, Josiah Simpson. And obviously, Josiah coming away with that performance of the year. On the flip side, Joel Haro, Justin Horsley, like you mentioned, it was competitive. It was incredible. It was on the biggest stage of the year. And not only that, but Justin Horsley had 1 million fans there. Joel Haro had 1 million fans there.
Justin Horsley was the biggest ticket seller on that card.
So it upped the ante of everything in terms of the spectacle of going to the Maverick Center. And so all that being said, yeah, I've got to lean Joel Haro, Justin Horsley for the fight of the year. I remember at the end of round number 2 saying on the call, who wants 5 more minutes? Because every single person in that arena did not want that fight to end. And that's the most beautiful part of MMA is when you go, well, it could end at any second, but we do want to see a little bit more. So
I remember sitting next to Cody to that, and I just remember going into the 3rd round going, I wish this was a 5-round fight.
Yeah. I think Boquette said that on the call.
Did he?
I think he might have. So
I'm not giving that guy credit, but sure.
I want
said it.
to salute you too, Blake, because leading up to that fight with Joel and Horsley, you did a great job interviewing these guys. And when I didn't know Horsley, and listening to that interview, like I'm like, man, I like this guy.
Yeah.
You know, this guy's a good guy.
Yeah. I will say it was one of, I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. I will mention Joel Haro, one of my closest friends in this entire space. I met Justin Horsley and I was like, gosh, like I don't want to like this guy, but I absolutely love this guy. I mean, the story that he had and everything that came into it, and then the heart that he shows with the gashes over the eyebrows, and he still keeps fighting, and the doctor keeps coming in, and nobody wants this fight to stop off of a doctor stoppage, and they keep fighting, and Joel Haro comes away with another patented spinning elbow. So it will go to them for the fight of the year, Joel Haro and Justin Horsley.
And by the way, to add to that, so that's the first time I've ever let the loser have time on the mic.
Yeah.
Because he was in the cage and he's doing it, and I just look over at him and I could just tell he had something to say. And I said, you want the mic time? And he's like, yeah, absolutely. And I mean, that's the thing. I mean, this is the business side of it, you know, fighters too. Like if you want these opportunities, he wanted that. Like when you go and you put on a performance like that, you promote, you sell tickets away like that. It's so easy to give you what you want. Like I really don't care if anybody else doesn't like it or want it. Like, he was such a good business partner to the show. Like the answer is just going to be yes, right? So when he asked for that, and then the message he leaves to his young wrestlers, I remember. I think it was either you or Boquette. When we were talking to on Monday, I'm like, because we played that clip. It played that clip, and it kind of went viral of Justin talking about, you know, giving 100 and to his wrestlers, and I get goosebumps just thinking about it. But it almost felt like Justin won.
Yeah.
Like I was like, doesn't it kind of feel like Justin like won? And when you lose a fight the way he did, and I mean Joel was unreal in that fight. Like I thought that was like probably his cleanest performance.
Easily.
You know, like he looked so good and dialed in. And Justin was battered and cut and bleeding everything. For him to, like, it's like when you lose a fight, and not only did you not lose a single fan, he gained a whole bunch.
Yep.
And then Joel, obviously, it's just on Joel's path. But like it was awesome.
And isn't that the beauty of MMA, Dre? I mean, that is why we love this sport. Is you can lose and still be a winner at the end of the day. And I know that sounds cliche, but truly that was embodied in this fight.
That's exactly what we as fans love, is effort. And he said exactly that to his students. You know, that's something you could take away and apply to your own life. Like, give effort in life.
I can cut this out too, but I will mention when we were doing the podcast, I can't remember if we cut it out, but I remember, Zach, you were almost emotional talking about that fight because of how much you appreciated both of these guys, the performance that they put on, the business side of it, all of it.
And people don't see that side of it, but I was like, and to make it happen, they both made concessions to make that happen.
Yeah.
Which, Joel, I'm asking a guy who's a big guy and in the cage. Justin looked like an entire one, if not more, weight class bigger than Joel, right? And I'm asking him to come up 5 pounds to meet him. And Justin's going, I made 135 a long time ago. I don't know if my body can get there anymore. Can he come up to 45? Joel didn't want for them to, those. And if anybody knows, you cut weight, it's those last few pounds that hurt the most. And Justin was willing to get down to 140. Too big to make 135 anymore, but pushed his body to the limits to get to 140 and to do it the right way. Like, they both made concessions to make that happen. And I mean, from a personal standpoint, I've been thinking about it a lot. We talk about it a lot. I think that, like, the dynamic of fighters and coaches to a promotion and things like that, for the most part, as they should, and I'm not saying that it should be different. Most people aren't really looking out for the promotion. Most people are looking out for their record. Most coaches looking out for their fight or their team, as they should. As they should. I'm not trying to suggest otherwise. But nobody ever, there's not a ton of sacrifices to be like, man, this isn't probably ideally what I want, but like, I know this would be big for the show, so I'll do it. And I felt like both of them, the financial incentivization, like, they benefit from it too. The bigger the fight, the more money they can make, the easier it is to market, everything like that. But I just appreciated so much that I felt like they were both willing to make some concessions to make this fight happen because they knew it was a big fight for them and the show. And I just appreciated it so much.
Incredible fight. Absolutely the fight of the year, Joel Haro, Justin Horsley. All right, final category, fellas. Professional Fighter of the Year nominees are Joel Haro, who went 2-0 in 2025. Mike Jones went 1-1. Josiah Simpson, another 2-0. And closing it out is Teague Vigil, also rendered dominant in 2025.
So, all that being said, last year it was Mike Jones, right? Or was it Kent?
Kent won.
Kent won. Mike was close second.
Yes.
If you include out of the fierce cage, it is Mike Jones for me, right? But we said this is who's done the most just in the fierce cage this year. We talked about it. I made a post about it, right? Like, there are 3 fighters that made 4 pro walks this year in Utah: Jerome Hatch, all bare knuckle with BYB, myself, and then Mike Jones. So, like, you young bucks, get to work. No, but be more active, because all us old guys that are 35 plus, we're the ones but yeah, so Mike, we're talking in the fierce cage. We're looking at 3 guys, for me, Joel Haro, Josiah Simpson, and Teague Vigil, that went 2-0. Nobody else went 2-0 in the fierce cage. No other pros went 2-0 in the fierce cage, all with finishes. For me, it's Joel too, because not only did he do it, he did it in the main event spot both times. Strength of schedule, fighting guys with tough winning records. Horsley was hot. I mean, if you remember, Horsley had knockout of the year.
Yes, he had knockout of the year.
And he was coming off of that, off of his comeback fight, and he had a lot of heat on him. Josiah, he's definitely in the mix. And, if you look at what he did at Crown earlier in the year as well, like, Josiah is definitely in the mix for that. But for me, you look at what they did specifically just in the fierce cage, fighter of the year is Joel Haro.
It's so hard, man. Man, it's such a tough thing
just
to
so
say.
you know, I've already accepted this. You might not understand. I've already accepted this. People are going to get pissed at me already, and I know this, so I hope you've accepted it. Just buckle up and just turn off the DM, like turn off the mentions on your thing.
You're stupid.
Yeah,
get in the gym. I know. That's why I'm gonna mess up your walkout song next time.
Yeah, everybody be careful. Dre will mess up the walkout song.
No, I echo exactly what you said. I think all these guys, first off, salute to you guys for whittling it down to just 4. These guys. I think every one of these guys are my favorites, man. I love all these guys, and good human beings, by the way. I keep on looking at the names with Josiah Simpson, Chris Chu, and Alden. 2 tough guys. How do you put away Chris Chu in the first?
I mean, not many do it.
Like, how do you do that? And then how do you make Alden retire? Like, how do you do that? And then how do you win over a Utah, a Salt Lake, up north crowd? Guys didn't know who Josiah Simpson was.
Sure.
Now everybody knows who this guy is. And he was nominated for Performance of the Year too. Like, and then you got Joe Haro, same things. Like, tough guy. He fought guys that were bigger than him. The guy that he just fought was taller, crafty.
I'll say this too, not to peel back too far behind the scenes. I mean, there is stuff that I, out of respect to the fighters, that I can't share on the podcast, but I will say this, and this is what Fighters of the Year type people do, is Joel had to deal with an opponent switch. Stylistically, a very different fight, and quite frankly, I think in a lot of ways a more dangerous fight with Owen than his original opponent as well. So I'm going to give him credit with that.
You got Mike Jones going up to heavyweight. like changed whole weight classes.
Yeah.
I got to pick one.
Yeah.
I'm going to rock with Josiah Simpson for my pro male fighter of the year.
That's it. Now you're never going to get Haro on his podcast ever again.
His mom's my mom. This is a brotherly love. We fight like that.
Fellas, this is incredible stuff on both sides really quickly. Just Joel Haro, Josiah Simpson. I do think they are the top 2 candidates. Mike Jones, I mentioned it after his win in October. I think the shot selection is the best I've ever seen in a fight across any regional MMA scene. As for Teague Vigil, I mean, this guy started off his career 0-4 and is slowly eking towards that 500 record. 3 straight first-round finishes, 2 of them in 2025. And he would have fought a whole lot more.
He would have fought more if people would have shown up to fight. If, we went and had fake blood and, throwing up, and it's not real. And, I mean, Leon, I'll give him fair to him. The kidney stone's legit, fair, but, and they did get it done. But, I mean, it is body of work in the cage, not what they had to go through outside of the cage. I mean,
I would fake X-rays if I'm fighting Teague.
You and me both, and I have to spar that bugger. Like, he's a problem to deal with. But yeah, I mean, whoever came more adversity and still got in the cage this year, it was Teague Vigil, no question.
And I just want to give him his shine over anything else, is how impressive Teague has been this year. But man, both of you guys have incredible arguments. Joel Haro, 2 wins, 2 main events. He really is the man of Utah. He has kind of become the face of this state. And quite frankly, at this point in his career, does have the highest ceiling of where he can go. He could be itching at the Dana White's Contender Series or a short notice contract with the UFC. He is that good of a fighter. On the flip side, you do have Josiah Simpson, who took out 2 guys who were other big names in the state, in Alden Ashcraft and Chris Chu. And again, nobody really knew who Josiah was. Respectfully, Josiah, I love you, man. People didn't really know who he was. He was fighting at Crown. He was fighting at Fusion. He wasn't fighting at Fierce. And then he cuts those promos. And the way that he has been able to market himself, and on the social media side of things, we've been able to blow him up because he allows us to blow him up. All of that, high praise. At the end of the day, Joel Haro has had a lot of weight on his back coming off of the Hunter Azure fight in December, in which he almost beat a UFC veteran. The spinning elbow that he landed again in December of 2024 was one that was heard around by every single person in the Masonic Temple, and your heart just dropped, and you thought, is this the end of Joel? That's 2 losses, 5-2. What's it going to look like? In 2025, he's got to be active, and he has to win, and he has to win in dominant fashion. And nobody bad or mediocre is fighting Joel Haro.
Dude, I was matching for Joel is hard because the risk reward is so rough and people know it. Because even if you do somehow come away with a win like Hunter's, you're going to get clipped. Joel is everything. So the UFC, for people who don't know, UFC is making a major shift on what they are looking for, going to Paramount, what the brand is going to look like. I mean, it's not a secret. They basically said, we're good on wrestlers, Dagestanis, Georgian wrestlers. Like, we don't need those guys anymore. We need more Americans. We need more strikers. We need more people from Canada, North America, South America, strikers, fun, electric. Like, Joel's exactly what they're looking for.
Or veterans in Marines, like my man Josiah Simpson, representing this country.
Dude, Josiah is on a great track too, because at 185, the UFC is thin, right? He's 5-2. You can make a case for Josiah based on the things. Just for me, it's Joel, and in my opinion, Josiah has some work to do to get to Dana White Contender Series or straight to the UFC. He still has a few more to get. Joel needs one. Talking to his manager, talking to the way the UFC is going, what it looks like. Joel, it appeared that the window might be closed or just barely open. To now, it's back open, and he's one more finish away from with a quality opponent. He's one more finish away from potentially getting that shot on Dana White Contender Series next fall. And so,
respectfully, Partridge,
and putting Utah MMA on the map. And I know Josiah reps Utah MMA, but like Joel, let's be honest. When you think of Fierce Fighting Championship, who do you think about? Camp Mafaleo, Joel Haro, Mike Jones. We need a little bit more of Josiah. We need to get him a little bit more.
But respectfully, we're talking 2025. We're not talking about 26 and Contender Series and all this other stuff. We're talking about 2025 Pro Male Fighter of the Year. And you're saying Joe Haro.
I am.
You're not talking about the man that came in as the underdog. He was underdog against Ashcroft. He was the underdog.
I would say he was. In respect, I would say that.
He was the underdog. The city wasn't behind Simpson. The city was behind Ashcroft. And at the end of that fight, he came in and said those words that give you chills.
For sure.
And then he comes in and he does at the Salt Palace, beats Chu. And then he flips the script. He said, know what? Now I embrace you, Salt Lake City. We're family now. I'm putting the Salt Lake back. I'm putting the Utah flag on my back, and I'm gonna do it for Utah too.
And I love Josiah, and he knows that. And I want Josiah back. We need to find a worthy opponent to have Josiah back with. But
no, I'm not finished.
Okay, he's not finished.
And then you talk about main events. That's not Josiah's fault. It's not Josiah's fault that he was coming behind Mike Jones.
I see, and this is where you're gonna get me in trouble, because I could disclose some behind the curtain stuff there that if Josiah would like to fight Mike Jones at 185, that could happen, and he could get that main event spot and earn everything you're saying. He gets a win over somebody like Mike Jones in 2026. That's all his.
If I may,
that's the clip.
Yeah, I love it. If I may say, I do tend to lean a little bit Haro because of where he's at in his career.
That has nothing to do with 25.
Boom, you got Blaked.
No, but hold on. I mean this so sincerely. This is great, guys. I appreciate all of this. I love this debate. I do think 2026, Josiah Simpson is primed to splash onto the Utah scene, headline multiple shows, really make his mark. I think 2025 it was for Joel Haro, and I think 2026, Josiah Simpson, if he should so choose, is primed to make a big splash on the entire country of MMA at Fierce Fighting Championship.
These guys ain't patriots.
Get out of here. Dude, everybody's already going to hate me enough after this podcast. Now you're going to go anti-America on me? Come on, bro. I would have walked out of the American flag, but somebody gave me a Utah flag my last fight, so I rocked that.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
I would, in terms of a tiebreaker, I would lean Joel Haro. That being said, Josiah Simpson, a very worthy opponent. And I will also say, I love having these competitive categories because it just goes to show how good 2025 has been.
How out of the two, who had the more performance of the nights?
They both
had
two.
Joel did not have the performance of the night. That's actually a great question, Dre. I'm sorry. Let me look it up really quick.
Because I feel if Josiah edges out performance of the night for 2025, that's your answer right there.
I mean,
it's a great argument.
It's a great point, but it's not swaying me.
You guys got Haro bias. I get it. I'm
Joe
for
Haro.
the people.
I'm hitting
Trey
the
for the
button.
people.
Hey, really quickly.
I hit the button. Do I have to hit it again?
No.
There we go.
I will say, Josiah Simpson, my apologies. I should have had this in the prep. 2 performances of the night. Both of his fights were performances of the night.
Come on, what are we talking about? 2025, your pro male athlete of the year, Josiah Simpson. No
Come
crusty.
second to Joel Haro.
Come on, man.
I'm sorry, it's no shade on Josiah. I love Josiah. Like he's the man. Like
You guys are making me sound like I'm anti-Haro. I love
We've
Joe
been talking
Haro.
about Josiah for about 30 minutes straight, by the way, between these categories.
I fought on the card with him in February. Like Josiah, dude. If we did a whole other podcast on like Utah fighters for the year, and it was opened up beyond the fierce cage, then it probably is Josiah going 3-0 with a win over Jesse Salmon in February, right? Yeah. But we're not.
Josiah,
we're not.
All these categories, Josiah is also a knockout of the year.
That's cool.
How is he nominated more than...
Okay, Joel was in submission of the year.
Yeah, but knockout, obviously.
Joel and Josiah have been nominated for performance, fight, and professional fighter of the year.
And then one got knockout and one got the finish. And I mean,
all right, we'll leave it up.
Cool.
Hey, I'm saying what I'm saying. You guys are going your way. Joe, I love you, my brother. I'll do anything for you except for vote for you this year.
I'll also mention this. Josiah Simpson did mention on our post from yesterday that Joel Haro should be the professional fighter.
Boom! You got Josiah.
I also want to say that Josiah said that you guys were biased against him as well.
He did not say that. That's a lie. That's a lie.
And Joel Haro and Josiah have actually become good friends. They went out to Colorado together to go train a couple of weeks ago, and they are both the biggest endorsers of one another. So I hope this doesn't create a big divide between the two. All that being said, it's extremely competitive.
Did you just Karl Malone, John Stockton us 96 All-Star game? You guys both win All-Star of the year. Did you just do it? Did we share in the All-Star moment?
I mean, honestly, if there was a co on this one, like you could co it, but I am voting Joel Haro,
okay.
And Blake is the tiebreaker, and he voted Joel Haro. And sorry, Josiah, but next year, I will say this. The stage is set for Josiah, like you said. Let's see what he does with it. I think he has a fight lined up in February at Crown. But I mean, there are 2 middleweights that are ahead of him on the Utah fierce pound for pound ranking list at middleweight, and that is still Mike Jones and John Poppy. And if he chooses that path and he beat those guys in 2026, if they choose to ask for the Mike Jones fight, and I don't know, maybe Mike doesn't go back down to 85. Maybe Mike stays at 205 in heavyweight and thinks that's fun. He did pretty good in his bare knuckle fight up in Montana over the weekend. So, but if Josiah decides that is the path that he wants, I mean, not only does that get him probably 2026 fighter of the year, that probably puts him straight into the UFC.
Fellas, it has been an incredible year. By the way, we will just cement it. And Dre, I'm so sorry that you have to hear this. Joel Haro, professional fighter of the year. Congratulations to you.
Like it's a bad thing. No, I love Joel. I'm happy.
Okay. Whatever. He's sad over here.
My vote
crying
is still
emojis. Crying emojis.
Guys,
storms off the set.
We've been going for over an hour. And again, an incredible 2025. It has been so fun to talk shop. It means the world to me that we get to do this, especially in this space. Dre, your studio is absolutely beautiful. truly on my end, Dre, thank you so much for all you've done in 2025. The social media content, inviting people onto the podcast, having Zack, always getting updates, the work that we get to do, the small work that we get to do together. It means the world. And to be able to do this and culminate this all in this studio, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Really quickly, Zack, I just want to say it's absolutely insane that you have more MMA fights than just about every other professional fighter in 2025 on top of what you do at Fierce. So thank you so much for all your hard work. Obviously, it doesn't go unnoticed, but truly on my end, it means the world to be able to work for this promotion and everything like that. So fellas, an incredible year. Thank you so much for all your time, and can't wait for 2026. It's going to be good.
We're going to kick off the year with some big fights in January. Marco Sanchez back at the Masonic Temple, his first main event for a Fierce Fighting Championship show. I believe he's only main evented Challenger Series before.
Correct.
So Marco Sanchez, our man, Teague Vigil, back. We should see David Kim back. And we're hoping for the pro debut of Ricky Mamone to be announced really soon, as well as another big announcement with Logan Taylor, currently not able to defend his 155 lightweight title, is stepping down, and Calvin Taylor versus Tristan McDonald is happening in January. And wait till February up in Idaho Falls. That's the biggest card we've ever taken up to Idaho Falls, headlined by the pro welterweight title with Anthony Castro versus Will Dunkel. It's going to be awesome.
What about all these broken bones? Are they healed up? Are the broken bones in Fierce back? Like Talon, Ammon?
Talon's healed up.
Ruben.
Talon's on the radar for an upcoming card, first quarter of 2026. Ammon Garcia is on the Idaho Falls card, February 6th. We have some giant plans and announcements to make with the return of Kent Mafaleo in April. We do plan on seeing Zack or Mike Jones back in the Fierce cage pretty soon. We have a couple Utah-based pro titles that are going to get in the mix in 2026 that are going to be announced very soon. So we have a lot of good stuff for 2026 coming up. Like a new venue for May is coming into place that people are going to love. It's going to be huge. We're going to have a Maverick Center-esque type card on May 16th at a new venue. So might want to follow us on social media if you don't yet.
We post a lot. It's very busy over there.
We post a lot.
Fellas, thank you so much. Can't wait for it. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. We'll see you in a couple of weeks.